is Miss Hardy, but you please feel free to call me Lynn if you want. So I'm your social worker. I'm assigned to your case. I understand that you may not be here voluntarily, but it's a pleasure to meet you still, and I hope to continue to work with you on this case, all right? And I know that your name was Miss Cheryl, or do you prefer me to just call you Cheryl, or is there a nickname that you prefer?
You can just call me Cheryl. All my friends call me Cheryl. So.
Cheryl's good? All right, perfect. Awesome. So, I did mispronounce it, just to be sure.
No, you pronounce it perfectly.
Okay, perfect. All right, so in this session, you are allowed to elaborate as much or as little as you like, okay? And I understand that this is kind of a sensitive topic, so we're in this together.
Thank you. It really is. It's a concern that I've been brought here today.
Okay, good. It sounds like you're motivated to be here at least.
I am. My kids mean the world to me.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Before we get into this any further, I do have to tell you our limits of confidentiality. So obviously, any cases of child abuse, which you're here for, will continue to be reported if I hear other issues, all right?
Okay, so does that mean that when we're talking, if I say anything about an additional incident that wasn't already reported, you'd have to report that to my caseworker?
Of course, yes. And other things that include within the limits of confidentiality is, of course, if you want to hurt yourself, kill yourself, or hurt someone else or kill someone else, that will have to be reported as well. And any cases of sexual assault, sexual violence against children or anyone else as well.
Okay.
Right. And I do want to ask you to, right now, do you feel that you want to kill yourself or kill other people?
No, I don't.
All right. And then hurt other people or hurt yourself?
No.
Okay, perfect. And do you see or hear things that other people do not see or hear?
No, I do not.
Okay. Last question. Do you feel safe at home?
Yes, I do. I feel very safe with my children and my husband.
Okay, awesome. So now that's out of the way, we can finally get into this. So I understand that your daughter, your daughter Chris, right?
Chris, yeah, she's 9 years old.
So I understand that the primary concern was she had lacerations and bruises all over her, and it's my understanding that it was due to you using an extension cord.
Yes. Yeah, I did use an extension cord. She's been frustrating me so much lately, and I just don't know how to handle her behavior, and I reacted poorly to that situation.
Please help me understand more where your frustration comes from.
The behaviors. She's my oldest, so I've never had to experience this new time as she's progressing into a teenager, and just the talking back and the not doing what I need her to do in that moment. And my husband isn't there providing any assistance on that manner. He works all the time, and he's not able to provide the discipline, and it's left to me alone with a toddler running around all over the place as well. And I didn't know how to handle my emotions at that time.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But it's really good that I see you have really good insight, right? That you're motivated to change. That being said, though, were there any other incidences, whether it's in the past, that you've resorted to any sort of violence against your children?
No, that was the first time.
Okay.
I grew up in an unstable home where spankings were the norm.
Right.
But no, that was the very first time I'd ever used an object to harm my child.
Okay. And it was only Chris. Tommy was never really affected?
I never spanked Tommy. I'm sure he was affected by seeing what his sister went through.
Okay. And as far as Bobby, your husband, goes, what is he like during all of this? Is he also, I wouldn't say abusing your children, but does he know how to better cope with his anger, or is this also another issue? Like, is he not supportive to you?
I definitely say the supportive aspect. I mean, he's supportive of us financially. He's always working and making sure we have a roof
Right.
over our head. But because I'm staying at home, he
Mhm.
expects me to do the majority of the childcare. And when he gets home, he doesn't want to handle any type of issues that have occurred with the children during the day. And he said that that's my job. I'm the
Mhm.
stay-at-home mom. I'm supposed to handle that, and I need to keep my children in line.
I'm so sorry. That can be so frustrating. It's not easy having one, let alone two children, and you have to watch them. I know that CPS was also informed of another incident last year. However, it wasn't reported. Your neighbor called saying that Chris wasn't being adequately, watched, but you were able to find someone to, watch her. So that's really great.
Yeah, that was when I had a job, and that incident, like after I found care, and it was sporadic. Like it was never I didn't have care all the time, and that's when I became the stay-at-home mom because we just couldn't.
Right.
The care was just too sporadic for us to consistently be able to work those 40-hour-long work weeks.
I completely understand, and I know childcare is very expensive, so I'm sure that was taxing on you too.
Yes, it was very taxing knowing all my paycheck went to whatever childcare I could find.
Can you elaborate more on your childhood and how you grew up? I know the intake worker had briefly mentioned that you have an estranged relationship with your mother.
I do. I don't speak to her at all right now.
Okay.
I know a lot of my friends can rely on their mom to help out with childcare or just to provide that support, and I don't have that. My mom was very distant, but she did have to work to help provide for us, and maybe that's why she didn't provide that close feeling that I was always striving for. And she would actually get very angry too, from the stress of working, and whenever we would act out, she would yell at us. And like I mentioned before, she did spank us for disciplinary reasons. And I just think once I turned 18, I didn't want to be around her any longer. I wasn't getting what I needed from her. I didn't feel loved and supported.
I understand. Do you think this also adds on to your frustration? Maybe you're taking out on Chris.
I could see that, being raised with whoopings and yelling. I think I have internalized some of that and brought it into. That's the only way I know how to parent. I guess I don't know any other way. I only know how my mom raised me, and I thought I was doing well not spanking the way I was raised, but then I never knew how to handle my emotions, and that came out in this situation.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you have great insight. It's very relieving to me knowing that I'm working with an involuntary client, but it sounds like you're very willing to change. So that's very promising. We have a lot of resources for you to change your behavior because you've already addressed it, and that's the first step. Okay. And I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you this right in the beginning, but if I have to take any notes, is that okay? And if you feel uncomfortable with it, I totally understand, and I will respect that.
No, please.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
All right, awesome. So now that you talked to me more about your problems, as your counselor, I'm really here to guide you to address them, which we just did, and I'm also here to guide you into developing goals to resolve these problems. What are your expectations of me too?
I just don't want to feel judged. I already know what I did wasn't the best moments of motherhood, and I've already felt the judgment coming from the community and just being brought up by CPS. So I just want that respect, and I need no judgment within this session.
Of course, and so far if I have seemed that way, I apologize.
You haven't.
Thank you. Well, moving forward though, if there's a concern, please call me out on it. I do not need you to feel judged because this is your session, like I said, and we're here to help you.
I appreciate that.
Okay. All right, so I understand that your main want or need is to kind of fix your aggressive behavior towards Chris, right?
Yes, to find better ways, better coping ways to manage how I react to Chris's behaviors.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to address?
I think I would like to find ways for my husband to be able
Okay.
to speak with my husband to ask for that help that I need.
Oh, that's great. I know you're in a estranged relationship with your mother now, but do you see maybe making amends with her? And it's okay if you don't see that for yourself, right? But it's good to also have a good social support, as you know. It takes a village to raise children.
It definitely does. When I think about mother, I don't think I'm ready yet to reach out, but I think I would like to come to a better acceptance that just because she raised me a certain way doesn't mean I have to have that same relationship within my family.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you know your boundaries and you're enforcing them. That's very important. I can only imagine what you're feeling right now, being involuntarily told to be here. And like I keep saying, I'm very proud of you for being able to recognize your aggressive behaviors and that you want to fix them, okay? You're welcome. How are you feeling right now, though? I'm sure you must have felt anxious when you came in.
I definitely felt anxious. I was afraid my children were going to be taken away from me.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm just kind of, I guess I'm more anxious of the unknown, like what's going to happen, like what's my way forward.
Right. Well, this is the first step, right? And obviously, you want to change. So, as far as I know right now, I don't foresee your children being taken away, but I can't obviously confirm that. And obviously, through this program, we'll do what's best for you and your children as well. All right. So, let me just write that down a little bit. So I'm glad that we cleared up that it was only a one-time incident and you just got frustrated and you lashed out on Chris. And as far as what you're telling me is, you've never done that. That was the first time and only time. So what I do want to clarify is, though, before you acted out on that, have you ever had thoughts of, this aggressive behavior before?
I haven't had thoughts of hitting Chris, but I've had thoughts of why won't Chris stop? Like,
Okay.
what am I doing that's causing this behavior and allowing it to continue?
Well, why do you think?
I think maybe it's because I'm so stressed out that I don't want to handle the situation in that moment.
Okay.
That it's just incident after incident, and I'll start addressing it, and then I'm just exhausted, and I just kind of let it go. And then it builds up.
Right.
And then I lash out, usually like in yelling in that one instance where I did strike my child.
Okay. How often do you feel these feelings of anger or hostility?
It's a daily occurrence.
Daily, okay.
It is daily.
So when you do experience this daily, how long do you feel this for? Like, it could be for a minute to an hour. Please elaborate.
I think most instances it's just in the moment of the behavior, so a few minutes,
Okay.
and then it dissipates.
Right.
But it's one after another throughout the day, so I'll have a few minutes every few hours based on what Chris is doing.
I can definitely understand your frustration, especially if it seems like it can be almost nonstop throughout the day.
That's what it feels like, that it's nonstop throughout the day.
Well, is there any times where you feel at peace with Chris?
I think whenever we sit down and work on her homework,
Okay.
I do actually feel some sense of calmness and that I can help her, and I'm not struggling in that moment. She wants my help and she's asking me for that.
Is that the only moment of peace?
Mornings
Mornings are
right
good.
when she wakes up, it's a new day at that point, and we're all happy, and we're sitting down eating breakfast and mornings.
Okay, that's so great. And with Chris, is there anything that you found to be useful to, lessen her behavior?
When I pay attention to her, like when
Okay.
I completely focus on just Chris and nothing else, I don't see the behavior as much.
Okay. All right, so it sounds like despite you blowing up that one incident, you still feel these feelings of anger and hostility throughout the day, even though they do last only a few minutes. Like I said, I can only imagine how frustrating it is. When you do feel this anger and hostility, how intense is it for you? I understand you blew up once, but generally, is it something, do you feel that you're going to blow up all the time?
Do you mean like blowing up, like where I'm about to strike my child?
Yes.
I don't feel I want to strike my child that often, but I feel like I'm like at the halfway point that I could go in either direction of yelling and acting aggressively towards my child with raised voice and invading the space, and then halfway towards wanting to strike out.
Okay. So from a scale of 0 to 10 in intensity, 0 being you're just irritated, right? And 10 being you just want to strike your child. Where do you sit on that scale most of the time?
I'd say out of 5 probably.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
We could work on lessening that in numbers for sure. Right. So like I said, we're here, we're in this together to work on your goals. So please feel free to ask me any questions or give any feedback as we move forward into really forming the goals together, okay? Do you have any questions of me so far, though?
No, I think you answered it. You clarified that question I had about the confidentiality, and then we've agreed that we'll be respectful to each other. So, and I really appreciate that someone's sitting down and willing to listen to me without judgment.
Of course. All right, perfect. So moving forward, I'm very excited to help you form these goals of yours. So I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously the main goal is to decrease your aggressive behavior and to mitigate you striking your child ever again. And then the other one is perhaps reaching out to your mom whenever you do feel comfortable to. Is there any other, oh, I'm so sorry, your husband, I know you want his support.
Yes. I'd say those are my 3.
3.
Yeah, my husband's support, lessening my anger, and then coming to terms with how I feel about my mother to hopefully one day be able to reach out. Yeah, I think those are my goals.
All right. I'm glad we're able to address them. So obviously we're both in agreement that the goal that we should focus on is your behavior, right?
Yes, my child is the most important, and I honestly think maybe I could do both. Talk to my husband and my child, because I think those would help me to react better to Chris.
All right, that's great. So I understand that you said that what brings you peace with Chris is doing homework and mornings and just spending time with her, giving her attention. Do you think it's possible to maybe set a day aside or maybe an hour of each day to give Chris that attention?
Yeah, I think I can. Since I am a stay-at-home, that maybe in the evenings when my husband does get home, maybe I can just dedicate just 30 minutes to an hour of just one-on-one time with Chris, maybe teaching her to cook or doing something along those lines.
That's great. I like that. So you know when your child's the most happy, right? And it's easy for you to gauge. So maybe we could use that as a measurement to see if this intervention is working, right? Of you spending time. And when Chris does act out, How does she do it?
She constantly yells like no when I ask her to
Oh,
do
okay.
something, or she'll walk away from me and slam her door.
Okay, awesome. And then when she's really happy, what's her actions like?
When she's really happy, she just
Mhm.
she smiles. Like you can just tell she's happy when you're talking to her and playing with her. She just brightens up and smiles. And it's a few times I hear her say, "I love you, Mom."
Oh, that's so great. Right, awesome. So we could use this as a gauge to see if, like I said, you spending time with her is working, and obviously look within yourself too. Like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling more at peace? Are these feelings going away? Right. But let's focus on the feeling of peace with you and your child. Okay. So I'd like you to try this for maybe a whole week and see what the outcomes are. And next time you visit me next week, please let me know if this is kind of working for you. I know it's only a week, so we can't really say for sure if this is working or not, right? But I'd love to know if there's any changes.
So just spending that hour a day with her and seeing how I feel and how she feels, and I can talk to you about it and next week. And
yes, definitely. I think that'd be a really good goal for you to have to help mitigate this aggressive behavior and hopefully not distract your child, right? And I do want you to know the resources we do have. We have family therapy if you're interested too. I'm sure that may help. I think it's also important. I know for Chris, she has bountiful services. There's child therapy and everything too, just to make sure she's if she is dealing with this okay as well. So, and these are all your resources, and you don't have to take them, but they're there for you. Okay. Have you ever thought about maybe anger management too?
I haven't thought about that. I think maybe yeah. I need to find a better way to find a better spot to reduce my anger whenever certain triggers occur.
Right. Obviously, you've only struck your child once, so maybe anger management may or may not help you, because it sounds like you have been really motivated to suppress your anger, because this has been happening for a long time. Chris is 9 years old. This is the first incident that you struck her with, that you struck her. So that's great. You should be really proud of that.
Thank you. I am. I'm very proud that I haven't become like my mother.
Oh, that's awesome. I know we haven't really talked about this, but I know your mom spanked you, but you just yell at your children, right? You never spank them.
Never spank. I just yell.
Okay, that's great. So everything we just talked about, is there anything else you wanted to address? Did we cover everything you wanted to?
Yeah, I think you were talking about that anger management, and I think that would definitely help, along with spending that time with my daughter, to alleviate these aggressive feelings and anger inside of me. And then I didn't know about the family services here that help with counseling with my husband, which
Yes,
definitely
of course.
I think working with my husband is going to help my relationship
too
as a whole.
Perfect. So these are all goals that are great. So it sounds like you're interested, and I'll give you this contact information for anger management, and as well as family or marital counseling, right?
Okay.
So I'll give you all these information, but let's focus for next time, right? Let's focus on that one goal to make sure, see if there's just more peace in your household, right? Between you and Chris and how you're feeling. Obviously, coming here will hopefully help you mitigate those feelings of anger and hostility as well. All right. I know we went over a lot. Do you have any more questions, whether it's about the limits of confidentiality, other policies, ethical factors, anything at all?
No, I think I'm pretty clear on it.
Okay, perfect. And was there any confusion between my role as a counselor to you?
No, you're here to help put me in touch with different resources and just make sure that I achieve my goals.
All right, awesome. All right, so before I set you on your way, is there anything else you would like to address or any questions of me?
I don't, no, I don't think I do. I think I'm good. I'm gonna work on what we talked about and find that peace and not yell at my child and to spend time with my child.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Really, it's my pleasure to have met you, and I'm really glad that you're taking actions to, really be a better mother, right? And I'm sure your family will appreciate it too. So have a good day. It was so nice talking to
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Yes.